Hi guys, this is Alex from King of the Gym, and today I'm reviewing the PowerBlock Commercial Pro 100 Adjustable Dumbbell Set. There's tons of reviews out there on the various residential PowerBlock models, but hardly any on the commercial versions. So hopefully this video will help fill in the gaps and help you decide whether it's worth it to buy a commercial PowerBlock model, specifically the PowerBlock Commercial Pro 100 in this case. So I've had these dumbbells for nearly 2 years, and I've also owned the now discontinued residential 90-pound Pro EXP model for about 6.5 years. Plus, I've trained on my friend's Elite Series model multiple times in the past, so I have a lot to say about these and plenty of comparisons to make. And by the way, you can find an affiliate link to the Commercial Pro 100 in the description below to support my channel at no extra cost if you decide to buy. But before you make that decision, you'll want to watch the rest of this review, so let's get into it. All right, so the first major thing that sets the Commercial Pro 100s apart from most of the residential power blocks is that there are no adder weights. Instead of fiddling with those little steel tubes to fine-tune your increments, you get 2 pairs of swappable handles, including one pair that weighs 5 pounds per handle and another weighing 10 pounds per handle. These give you the ability to adjust in as little as 5-pound increments per hand, just like what you get with a regular fixed dumbbell set. And even though you lose the ability to do 2.5-pound jumps like you get with the expandable residential PowerBlock models, I've never actually felt like I needed that small of an increment when actually training with my commercial pros. I'd say this system is faster and more straightforward to adjust compared to the residential Pro EXP or Elite Series models. With those models, the adder weights just add more time and more friction to your workouts, and it's certainly not the end of the world by any means, but after using the Commercial Pro 100, I've noticed how much more tedious the adder weights are compared to simply swapping handles. And speaking of speed, the magnetic selector pin system, which is common to all PowerBlock models, is excellent. It's not the fastest mechanism on the market, but it is time tested and it's still generally quick. It's a pretty simple design. The pin is tethered to the first plate and slides easily into the desired plate rail, through the handle slit, and then into the opposite rail. And the magnet ensures the pin sticks securely on the rail during use. So for 10-pound jumps, you just move the pin up or down. And for 5-pound jumps, you swap the handles. It's simple but effective. And there's a handy color-coded weight guide decal on both sets of handles that shows you how much each dumbbell will weigh depending on which handle you're using and which rail you select. So, for example, if you select the green rail with the 10-pound handle, the dumbbell weighs 50 pounds. And if you select the green rail with the 5-pound handle, it's going to weigh 45 pounds. The only quirk you may experience in the adjustment process is that it's possible to accidentally put the pin in crooked. So you just have to be intentional with your placement. Another great thing about these dumbbells is that the racking and unracking is completely effortless. You can just yank them out without any catching, and when you go to rack them, you can just drop them in without having to worry about perfect placement at all. And compared to something like my snow dumbbells where you have to be very precise, this is just like so much more seamless and less frustrating for sure. And just to be clear, the Commercial Pro 100s can go from 5 pounds at their lightest to a max weight of 100 pounds, matching the weight range of the residential Pro 100 EXP model and beating the Elite model by 10 pounds. That's an above average max weight for an adjustable dumbbell set, and I'd say it's more than enough for most home gym lifters. So now I want to talk about how these actually perform in training. They're great on overhead press and bench press, specifically because the flat plates and rounded urethane edges make them comfortable on my thighs, which is one of the issues I actually have with my snow dumbbells. I also really like them on side lateral raises and bent over lateral raises. I like propping my wrist against the wedge-shaped handle opening to get better control and leverage. The Commercial Pro 100s also excel on any exercise like shrugs, lunges, Bulgarian split squats, carries, or really anything else where the dumbbells just need to sit in your hands. They're also really good for one-arm rows, hammer curls, or other exercises where it's a simple up and down movement. Now, that said, they're not perfect for everything. For example, on regular supinating bicep curls where you're rotating the dumbbells during the lift, you can feel a bit of side-to-side imbalance. Same goes for cleans or other exercises where you're rotating or turning over the dumbbells. They're still very doable, but this is where you'll feel the balance issues a bit. And there are a few lifts you simply can't do at all with the Commercial Pro 100s or any PowerBlock model for that matter because of the side rails which prevent proper hand placement. So that includes overhead triceps extensions, pullovers, and goblet squats. Even though the balance isn't perfect on the Commercial Pro 100s, they are significantly better balanced than the residential PowerBlock models because there are no adder weights throwing things off. If you've ever used residential PowerBlocks with 1 or 2 adder weights inside, you know how they can feel bottom heavy or even slightly lopsided. Getting rid of the adder weights in favor of swappable handles makes a noticeable difference. But while the Commercial Pro 100s are definitely better, they still aren't perfectly balanced like fixed dumbbells. This is because of the block design where the rails cause some of the weight to be distributed on the sides rather than just on the ends. The Pro 100 comes with 38mm stainless steel knurled handles. There's no TPR rubber option like with the residential Pro 100 EXP, but frankly, I don't know why anyone would want that anyway, since knurled steel is far superior, at least in my opinion. The knurling is medium in terms of intensity. It's grippy without being aggressive, and I'd say I rarely need to use chalk with these unless my hands are sweaty and I'm holding 80+ pounds. For comparison, it's ever so slightly more aggressive than the snowed dumbbells. And even though the grip diameter is a bit thicker than a typical dumbbell, it's not an issue for me. I really like the substantial feel. And even my wife, who has much smaller hands, has no complaints about this. The wedge-shaped handle opening is pretty awesome too. As I mentioned earlier, it gives me a natural place to kind of brace the dumbbell on lateral raises, which helps to stabilize the weight so I can hit the side delts just a little bit better. On top of that, it also gives me a bit more range of motion inside the handle compared to squared off handles like on the PowerBlock Elite. Also, the Commercial Pro 100's handle doesn't have padded wrist supports on the top of the handles like on the PowerBlock Elites or on the Commercial Pro 125 and 175 sets. I personally prefer this less restrictive design because it's a bit easier to get your hands in and it gives your wrists more room to move. These dumbbells are quiet but not completely silent. The urethane coated plates fit together pretty tightly, so there's virtually no rattling of the plates themselves. However, there is a small clacking noise you'll hear during explosive reps, which is just the handle moving slightly within the block of plates. It's nothing loud since it's plastic on urethane, but it's still perceptible. And you will feel the slight shift as well, but again, only during fast movements. Otherwise, it feels totally solid during regular tempo movements. After almost 2 years of regular use, my PowerBlock Commercial Pro 100s look barely used. The urethane is fully intact, no scratches on the rails or handles, and no oxidation on the stainless steel grips either, despite never brushing them. I have no doubt these will last a long time. I mean, That's the common thing you'll hear from so many PowerBlock owners, that they've had their dumbbells for 10 or even 20 years with no real structural issues. And while they're not designed to be dropped, definitely not, they are definitely designed to last under normal conditions for a long time. Personally, my old Pro EXP set still works like new after 6.5 years. A little cosmetic wear for sure, but no functional issues. The simplicity of the nested block design and an adjustment mechanism with no moving parts make them arguably the most reliable adjustable dumbbell system on the market. That goes for all PowerBlock models. And when it comes to the commercial Pro 100 or any Pro models, you get a little extra protection with the urethane coating when it comes to preventing scratches and rusting on the plates. And the non-welded flex plate design also adds a little shock absorption, making them more impact resistant than welded frames like on the PowerBlock Elite models. But again, don't go dropping them. Now, I should say that some people don't like the use of urethane with the flex design because the rails go straight through pure urethane tabs, with the worry being that the urethane could potentially fail. I have seen a couple reports of this on the much older U-series models, though most of those cases involve misuse or storing the dumbbells outdoors or buying secondhand where the usage history is an unknown. I also know that PowerBlock bolstered their urethane sourcing and quality control process after sunsetting the U-series models and before the original Pro Series models came out. Personally, I'm not worried about this since both of my urethane models have shown no signs of wear. Plus, I know these are the same sets used in high-end athletic facilities around the world, but if you're still concerned, that's valid. You can always go with the PowerBlock Elite model, which has all steel plates with welded rails. While I'm a fan of the urethane on these dumbbells, the one thing I don't like about it is that it adds some thickness to the plates, making the dumbbells 19 inches long at 100 pounds. That's significantly longer than a fixed dumbbell of the same weight. However, it's not a ridiculous length for an adjustable dumbbell. In fact, comparing it to my Snowed dumbbells, it's actually more compact. The Snows max out at 80 pounds and are just over 18 inches long at that weight, while the Commercial Pro 100s are just 16 inches at 80 pounds. The dumbbells come with a rack included, and you can choose between the Pro rack, which is what I have, and the Pro Max rack, which is a bit deeper, wider, and importantly, has wheels. I kind of wish I had gotten the Pro Max rack just so I could move it around since I really like that capability. However, it does cost an extra $150 to upgrade. Now, don't get me wrong, the regular Pro rack is still good. It's super sturdy with a powder-coated steel frame and textured shelves. It fits the dumbbells and handles up top perfectly, and there's also a lower shelf where I store my PowerBlock kettlebell handles. Another thing that separates these and all PowerBlocks really from other adjustable dumbbells on the market is that they're self-contained. You don't need a cradle to adjust the weight. You can do it on the floor, a bench, or anywhere really. That makes them awesome for outdoor workouts or even for personal trainers on the go. Or if you just want to take them to the other side of your gym and do drop sets, you can do that as well. Now, do these look like traditional dumbbells? Obviously not. They're square, they have side rails. It's a whole different look. And they don't feel quite like traditional dumbbells either, mainly due to the minor balance issues. But you get used to that feel pretty quickly. Now, I should also mention the obvious that my dumbbells have my logo on the ends, which I think looks totally awesome. But just know PowerBlock doesn't offer custom designs on their site, though you may be able to get this done if you contact them directly, but it will certainly be an upcharge. I also have a pair of the Pro 100 kettlebell handles that work with these dumbbells, so I figured I'd talk a little about those too. First and foremost, these are a huge improvement over the old kettle block handle that I have for my residential Pro EXP model. This one has a rotating handle that lets you turn the dumbbell lengthwise so you can do kettlebell swings without hitting your legs. And for other exercises, you can rotate it for whichever grip orientation is most effective or comfortable. In my testing, I found it to be good for kettlebell swings, chest supported rows, single leg Romanian deadlifts, suitcase carries, farmer's walks, shrugs, and Russian twists. In my actual training though, I've used it mostly just for chest supported rows, and it's great for that. Though much more recently, I've found another very cool use. It makes the perfect weight for my forearm roller attachment because it's easy to adjust the weight and convenient to attach to the cord. That said, it's not great for some exercises you typically use kettlebells for. For instance, it's far from ideal for goblet squats because the plates push away from your chest and rotating the handle just pushes your arms out. Also for cleans and any presses, it's not really good at heavier weights because the rails really dig into your forearms. They cost $149 for a single handle, so just know that if you want a pair like I have, you'll have to budget about $300. Let's talk price for the dumbbells. The Commercial Pro 100s are $1,649 with the Pro Rack and $1,809 with the Pro Max Rack. Are they the best value? No. The Residential Pro 100 EXP at $1,200 and the Elite 90 at $867 are much better values since you get most of the functionality at significantly lower prices. But are the Commercial Pro 100s the best experience PowerBlock offers? I'd say probably yes. The other contender for that would be the Commercial Pro 125, 175 model, which obviously goes much heavier than the Commercial Pro 100, up to 175 pounds per hand, which is a lot. And it's actually shorter in length, surprisingly, though it's much bulkier in terms of height and width. The major issue though with the Pro 125, 175 is that its smallest increment is 7.5 pounds, which is quite a large jump even for relatively strong lifters. So here's my take. If you want the best PowerBlock experience and don't need more than 100 pounds per hand, go with the Commercial Pro 100s. If you want the best bang for your buck PowerBlock model, go with the Pro 100 EXP or Elite USA 90. And if you need a lot more weight, go with the Commercial Pro 125 or 175 set. Whichever you choose, you'll have a fast and reliable adjustable dumbbell set. After all, there's a reason PowerBlock has kept the same basic design for all of their models for over 30 years now. So if you decide to pick one of these up, check below for my affiliate link to help support the channel at no extra cost to you. I appreciate it. And if I missed anything at all, be sure to ask in the comments. I'll also leave links to all of my different PowerBlock articles on my site if you want to learn more about the different models. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more equipment reviews coming soon. I'll see you next time.